the multi-dimensional human being and the 12 dimensions of being. As we become aware, there is more than the physical body present here. Every human being has more to them than only the physical body, and that is their emotions, which are actually fourth dimensional and higher energies. Feelings are higher dimensional energies. Emotion means energy in motion, and everybody feels those energies, emotions, and they call them emotions. Some of them are very popular emotions that everybody feels, and love is the desired emotion, as well as happiness. Mind and thoughts are not physical in nature, they're energy potentials and energy streams that one can enter into the mind stream and follow a particular thought pattern through their neurological pathways as well. The neurological pathways is like a tunnel, but the energy is flowing through the brain, through the neurons, and therefore the mental pathways are there, and a person can follow according to their programming. But also a person can receive new thoughts that they never ever have thought before. A person can receive intuitive feelings. And those who have more open energy systems, their chakras and so forth, can sense even higher dimensional energetics. So essentially, human beings are multidimensional beings. And we have a visible, dense physical body where the consciousness is projected into. The consciousness and the soul is projected into the visible physical body. However, the physical seen body is only a tiny fraction of all that you are. And for some reason, people are very oriented towards the tangibility, and they forget that, they have everything else which is not physical, and that is actually even more important than the visible physical body. Because the visible physical body is a physical manifestation, and including the feelings of happiness, joy, sorrow, and anger, and sadness, as well as the physical health or physical diseases, energetic diseases. So the physical body is extremely influenced by energetics. So now we will go through the 12 dimensions that are within, that are actually present. They're not only within, they're presently here. The 12 dimensions of every human being, whether one knows it or not, but there are those 12 dimensions. So the first dimension is called it is unconscious to the average human person, to the physical senses, because it is the part of the body which is composed of minerals, water, and genetic codes that are the foundation of the physical vehicle, physical form. So it is the connection on a molecular level. And that is the place within you, which is the place of electrons, protons, and quantum particles. They're obviously here, and the scientists have validated them, and this is the very first dimension of your being, which is present here. The second dimension is a biological connection, and it is also quite unconscious to the usual average human senses. However, many people who are more sensitive can already tap into this place, and this is the place of, for example, autonomic nervous system that regulates your life functions, the automated systems in your body, because your conscious mind is not controlling your heartbeat and your nervous system functions and blood circulation and so forth. So all these functions are happening automatically, and they're self-regulating, and they're intelligent as well with the self-healing capabilities. So those who are more sensitive could start to become aware of how this great communication grid is working, which is a neurological, which is nervous system grid, and it also connects with the on the cell on the level of the cells. So quite many people can actually sense into that who have practiced some energetic work. So it is also accessible, and it is also present right here, and that is a second dimension of your being. The third dimension is physical. It's the matter. It's right. It's tangible. It's visible. It's sensible with the five senses. So it's the domain of the five senses, and it is the most obvious to everyone. And it is called also materialism. If a person is too focused on the physical realm, it's called materialism. And it's of course, it's easy to prove, and it works in the logical ways, in objective ways, of what is seen, touched, tasted, and smelled, and so forth. And it's easy to believe what you can sense with your five senses. But what you can sense with your five senses is only a small fraction of totality of who you are. And that is a great illusion, that people believe that they're only that small fraction of their wholeness or totalness. Now, we're gonna go now into the higher dimensions, we can call them, although there's nothing higher or lower in reality. They're all present here. There's really nothing higher or lower. They're all present here. So the fourth dimension, it's an emotional plane. And that's where there are a lot of polarized emotions of the light and darkness, of the happiness and sadness, of all the good things and all the bad things. And within each and every person, there is, even in the children's stories, there's a little angel and a little devil, and they constantly chat in your head. And you kind of need to make your own decisions and make your own choices and see your own influences. So the fourth plane is a mixture, and there are good things and there are bad things as well. And these are emotions. It is your emotional body. It is also called your astral body. And many people have astral journeys, near-death experiences, and these are sensible with a bit of practice. However, everybody has variety of polarized emotions on a daily basis, and they're actually fourth dimensional energies, which are called emotions in a common language. The fifth dimension is a lot more clean and pure, and in most of religions and spiritual traditions, it's called heaven. And that's where the fear has been dissolved. The fear is no longer predominant, and it is the realm of love, functioning of love, and other higher frequency feelings. You see, there is a difference between emotion and feeling. Yes, why do we have these two words in English dictionary? Emotion usually refers to the lower range of energies, and feelings usually refer to happiness, love, and bliss, and so forth, peace. So people say, I feel peacefulness, I feel love and happiness and bliss. So these are higher frequency energies. And fifth dimension is the first range of, so to speak, heaven, because it is purified, it is refined more, and the lower vibrational fear-based emotions are no longer existent there. So also on a multidimensional language, it is your higher self or higher consciousness in some terminology, and it is also your light body, the body of light. And that's what Jesus was also speaking when he said that in heaven you will live eternally, and there are it's a realm which has no pain, no suffering. Well, yes, because there's no physical body and there are no fear-based emotions, so there's no pain, no suffering. It's a realm of light, love, and functioning of the pure energetic light body. So that is the fifth dimensional you, which is also present here. However, not everybody has access to it, and it's not integrated for majority. It is actually a small percentage of human population, just a few percent, who have their activated light bodies, or fifth dimensional consciousness in common terms. And the fifth dimensional consciousness usually refers to ascension, inner ascension. So when you hear these buzzwords on the internet, ascension, that means the activation of your fifth dimensional light body, fifth dimensional consciousness. However, your physical body will not evaporate. It's going to still be here. It is within you that you access heaven, the doors of heaven open, and you have connectivity or conscious connection with the heavenly place within you. And Jesus was also saying the kingdom of heaven is within, and it is so. And interestingly, he was also saying, I'm the king, but not of this earth. So he is a king of a heavenly realm. And of course, when he came here, he met all the barbarians. And it was hard to explain what he was talking about. And many of us also feel it this way, that there are so many barbarians around us. So yes, however, we are here to help, and we're here to educate, and we're here to heal others and help them to awaken. And intrinsically, many souls are ready to awaken. Many souls are ready to awaken. Some souls are not ready to awaken. They're called the baby souls. They're here for purely physical experience. Maybe it's the very first time they got the physical body. You know, probably most of you are sick and tired of the physicality, but baby souls are happy to have a physical body. It's the first experience, and it's amazing for them, and they like to be, you know, materialistic. They want to believe in all the stuff that the media tells them, and they will, you know, fight for it and stand up for it and vote for it and argue about it endlessly because they like it. So these are called the baby souls. However, more advanced souls realize there is so much more, and many souls are dormant and waiting for awakening. They need, we can say, an activation. They need some inspiration. They need a trigger for awakening. And that's what we're here for, and we're here to help them to wake up and to come out of the sleep, of the illusion of the sleep mentality. So fifth dimensional consciousness, fifth dimensional you is also present, but it needs to be awakened, opened, and connected and integrated. And there's a whole process of purification and integration of your fifth dimensional light body. Now let's go further into the sixth one. And the sixth dimension is also something that we use, everyone, and that's called language, symbols, concepts, ideas. Yes, we use that, and that's where it comes from the sixth dimension, and we use it on a regular basis. It's mental. Yes, and this is where the universe itself has archetypal molds, archetypal structures, and they're encoded into symbols, and then they're decoded into languages. And the language of light is the highest frequency language, and the human language is invented languages. They're not really real in the universe. They're human invented, and they are, for the sake of convenience and understanding of each other. But eventually, in a few hundred years, humanity will move to telepathic communication. Because making sounds with your mouth is slow, it's inaccurate, especially when you want to explain your feelings. That's the major source of miscommunications, especially between males and females. So we can see a lot of problems of human-invented language and communication with your mouth, making some sounds and trying to understand what another person is feeling. So there are obvious limitations to that. However, as I said, in a few hundred years, humanity will be moving towards telepathy, and we are already giving a telepathy course. We have a first group of people whom we are giving the telepathy course, and later on we will make it public so that everyone can learn how to utilize your brain glands that are already present and dormant. However, you simply need to learn and utilize the telepathic ability, because every human being has pineal and pituitary glands, which are the receiver and sender of higher information, which is encoded as a message, as words, as sounds, as pictures, as feelings, and we call it the mental television. And it's much more awesome than YouTube, actually, because on YouTube there are no emotions. There are sounds and voices and videos, but no emotions and no feelings. But with the mental television, telepathic communication, you can send emotion and feeling as well. And that will be the future of communication once humanity grows up a bit and learns how to utilize that. So sixth dimension is the place of symbols, language, archetypes, ideas, concepts, and so forth, which is quite mental, we may say mental reality. Seventh dimension within you is it's actually even more refined. It's all about geometries, because these archetypes have been formed by geometries, and these are called sacred geometries. And you know the symbol of flower of life, the Shri Yantra, the Om sign, and so forth. These are all the symbols of sacred geometries, and they're everywhere. Fibonacci sequence, golden ratios, and so forth. This is the whole reality is formed from the geometries, which are then clustered into the archetypes, structures, and then they take on denser forms. And thus, here you are, hello, you see this physical body right here. And that's how it happens. And science is catching up to that, and even there is cymatics, which is the audio geometry. And they have some amazing videos on YouTube. If you type in cymatics with the C, so you can see how different sounds create different geometrical patterns. Vortexes and so forth. All of that is 7-dimensional structures. Coming to the 8th dimension, it is even more refined, even deeper, and that's where the collectivity is. It's called the group soul, and that's a collective functioning. So to give a little example is that what you call your body, it's actually a synchronous existence of 50 trillion cells which are combined into physical organs and various systems functioning harmoniously together. What an amazing feast you are. What an amazing harmony you are. And on your average day, when your friend asks you, how are you? You say, I'm good, I'm fine. Actually, you are quite well because you're alive, you're harmonious, and you don't even understand that. Because only when something is wrong in your physicality, in your energetics, then you say, oh, I'm feeling terrible and bad. And then, of course, when some part of you goes out of order, then you recognize that your synchronous harmony is out of balance, and then you say something is wrong. So, yeah, so that is a little example, but actually the 8th dimension is a group souls. And for example, group souls can decide to project themselves and become even the whole, for example, rainforest. Yeah, and the whole rainforest, so the Amazon rainforest would be a particular soul group who decided to experience themselves in this way and project themselves in this way. And it can be all kinds of, even into minerals and animals and insects and even the whole human collective. It's actually a group, a soul group who have decided to experience being human, called human collective. So we are united as souls in the 8th dimension as a group because we all decided to project here into these physical vehicles. And that was a group decision. You never come alone. You never come alone. 9th dimension is where the creation of forms and hierarchies start to take shape. And yes, the universe is hierarchical. It is structured extremely intelligently, extremely complex, and extremely harmoniously. And yes, it is hierarchical, it is structural, the whole universe is structural. Just today I read again an article of scientists comparing human brain to the structure of the whole universe. According to many different variations, it is identical. So the ninth dimension is where consciousness arranges itself into planetary, stellar, galactic, universal, dimensional consciousness, energetics. Yes, so the source energy pouring into the ninth dimension creates forms and hierarchies, and then it creates soul groups, and then it goes into various kinds of geometries and so forth, and into the physical, very down to the physical matter. So it's transition from formlessness to the form. And there is a dependency, of course, because, for example, humanity is dependent on Earth, but the Earth is not dependent on humanity. You understand? Because the Earth has been here long before humanity was here. The Earth is totally fine. Whether humanity is on it or not, actually the Earth would be happier if we were not on it. So that's the sad truth. We're not so harmonious with the Earth where we are living as a civilization. The same way the Earth is dependent on the Sun, but the Sun is not dependent on the Earth. Because the Earth needs the Sun to have the heat and all kinds of energies from the Sun so that the plant life can live, so that the oceans can be at the right temperatures, the weather can be as it is right now. The Earth needs the solar energy. Otherwise, it's going to be a frozen rock. There will be no life, as we see it right now, if there's no sun. The Earth will live, but not like this. So it is dependent on the sun, but the sun doesn't really care about the Earth because it is self-sustaining by itself. So there is a dependency, and it is evident everywhere. And every one of you is totally, absolutely dependent on this Earth. For example, oxygen. No oxygen, that's it. No sunlight, you won't be as happy anymore. No water, well, it's gonna be tough. No food, you're gonna die. So every one of you is absolutely dependent on this Earth. And of course, this is what humans are striving, to go into the space, to colonize Mars, to become independent. But then they will realize as they go out into space that they're not feeling so great because there are healthy electromagnetic frequencies of the Earth. And this is what the astronauts have discovered as they went into space, that gravity, keeps your bones and tissues together, that the Earth electromagnetic field protects you from radiation, and there is still a great dependency. So it's still, as people will go into space and start living there, will realize that there's a lot to do to feel good and healthy in space and on other planets. And other planets will have different gravity variations, atmospheres, sun reach, and so forth. So it's probably not as happy on Mars or on Moon, even if you get there. I wouldn't want to go to Mars and Moon. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to go there. It's much better here, actually. But there are other planets, few light years away, that might be also quite nice as the Earth. And of course, someone needs to go there, check them out, see how you feel, see how you can live there. And then, we can make decisions if we want to go there or not. So don't rush onto Mars and Moon because they're not so life compatible as you may think. So yes, the 10th dimension. Yes, going to the 10th dimension, it is the we may say the universe itself. And you are part of the universe. You're part of the source energy, which is projected into this universe, which took a certain soul, and this soul has projected to all dimensions, and here you are thinking you're an average human person. So, however, if you go a bit deeper into yourself, you will discover that you are part of the universal consciousness, and it is here right now. It's not up there, out there, it's here right now. It's very subtle and deep, and you can connect to that part of you, which is here and now. And that's where the Holy Trinity comes in the Christianity, because the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in Christian tradition. In Hindu, they're called the Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, also Trinity. And in esoteric teachings called Light, Love, Truth. So to explain the Christian tradition, so God, the Father, is the great young. It's the masculine element. The Christ said that the Father and I are one, and yes, it is the individualized consciousness. It is the Son, which is the individualized soul, individualized form consciousness. So there is the great young, which is the Father, then there is individualization, which are all the souls. And the Holy Spirit is the great yin, which is the mother, we can say, and that's the unified field of consciousness. Yeah, the unified field. So that's how the Trinity, the Christian Trinity, can be translated. In Hindu, the Brahman is creation, creator. The Vishnu is sustainer, and Shiva is the destroyer, or the truth, the finishing cycles, the completion. And light is creating, love is sustaining, and truth is dissolving, returning, ending the cycles, finishing, destroying or finishing. Destroying is sounds a bit dangerous, but everything has beginning and end. Just like your breath has in-breath, you breathe in, you sustain your breath, you assimilate the breath, and then you breathe out. Yes, even your breath has three elements to it, three key components. So all beings, all souls are points of consciousness in the 10th dimension. That's where your soul is born, in the 10D, as a point of consciousness, as a point of light. And that's your soul, a spark in 10D. That's where your soul resides. Now, going to 11th dimension is where it is already beyond this particular universe. And it's even beyond the great void, which is basically the shell of the universe. And that's the we may say Godfather and Godmother, but that's where the creation happens itself of the universe. And everything in the universe has masculine and feminine. And it is the union, the divine love union, which creates the seed of the universe, and then it grows. Just the same way, father, mother make love and make a baby. So Father, Mother, God make love and they make a universe. Same way. And that correlates to the level of consciousness 850, the divine love union. And it is the unification of your male-female aspect at the highest, highest, highest level, which is actually even beyond the universe, beyond the void, made out of pure love, pure, pure, pure love. And the 12th dimension, it is the source itself, the pure consciousness itself. Christianity calls it God. Buddha called it the great nothingness or nirvana. And Hindus call it the God, also consciousness. Or, well, they call it many names as well, Shiva consciousness and this and that. But essentially they refer to the great one, the pure consciousness, the self. So that is the 12th dimension, which is the source itself beyond this universe. And there are many other universes in different forms and shapes and maturity and structures and soul groups and so forth. And the 12th dimensional aspect of you is the God within you, and it is present right here. So now we have recapped all 12 dimensions of you which are present here, and with consciousness work and spiritual work and energetic work, you can access and open up to sense with your extrasensory perceptions, perceive, experience, feel, and realize that all that I have spoken now are here already. Are here already. And you need to go beyond your 5 senses to experience that. And you need, of course, to work on that. It's a lot of, there are many ways of opening, but of course there's a lot of practice as well. It also depends on what you want to do or what's natural to you, unique to you. And I really want to emphasize, it's all here. Not out there, not somewhere in the future, not one day. It's here. And it is your ability to open up and sense, feel, experience, realize that which already exists. It's not an idea, it's not a concept, it exists. But humanity has a long, long way to go until it will become common. It is called common or normal. So currently most of the human experience is in a very tiny fraction, narrow bandwidth experience of the totality available here and now. And science is going in the right direction. Religions are expiring, and the true inquiry into the nature of existence and a true scientific inquiry with open-mindedness, and especially quantum physics, is the way forward. So that is the way forward for humanity to reconnect with that which is here. So that is an overview of your 12-dimensional being, of magnificence of who you are, and you simply need to work on that and to have intention and to have a bit of guidance as well and help, because we are all connected and we're all one at the very deepest level, and there's actually only one at the very, very absolute sense. There's only one self, only one God, only one consciousness, and it's undivided, unseparated, and for you to easier understand, how can you separate yourself from the universe? You can only think that you're separate from the universe, but you're absolutely not separate from the universe. That's not the case. And the science will confirm that you're totally not separate from the universe. It's just a thought, it's just an idea, and it's actually false. And somehow people believe that, are conditioned in that, but you are magnificent, you are amazing, you're great, you're all powerful, just with a little amnesia, forgetfulness, and apparent experiential disconnectedness. And therefore, the reconnection needs to be established, remembrance needs to happen, reintegration needs to happen, so that you can experience your greatness, magnificence, beauty, and total love that you truly are.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It was beautiful, thank you. I was transported somewhere, but I'm not sure which dimension it was. My question is about the soul. Like, how do you know when you are in connection with your soul, when you have met your soul?
Yes, the soul is always projected into this body to a certain degree. So for the average human being, it's called the golden string, and through that golden string there is a connection projection. The higher the consciousness and energetic openness, the more soul connection expands and becomes accessible. So, intuition, it's just one part of it, but synchronicities and knowingness, getting the answers even before the question arises, or your question arises and answer comes to you right away, and more clarity. These are indications of the soul connectedness. And the soul energy, the way the soul looks like is a golden field, a golden sky. And some part of it is beaming down here, because this body is so small. So some part of this big energy of the soul is beaming down here right into this body, and it depends just how much one is connected, how much one is open. So with these signs of knowingness and feeling that you are at home and that everything is clear, that everything makes sense, that is how you know that you are definitely connected. You don't feel lost anymore, confused, or that would mean that your focus is somewhere else and not with the soul. The focus goes into the mind. And the strength of or degree of connectivity can also vary, because when you meditate, it's stronger, it's more present. And if you are very busy doing all kinds of stuff, then there is less experience. And then it depends on integration, how much of the soul frequency energy is integrated as well. So it varies uniquely to everybody, depending how much one is open and integrated with the soul energy. And to make it more interesting, your soul is not only projected here, but more advanced souls can be projected into multiple physical bodies, which are called twin flames. So more advanced souls can actually inhibit up to 108 physical bodies at the same time, the same soul.
Wow.
Yes. Only in one location, not to mention that your soul can also inhibit or project into various trees and animals, into various timelines and other dimensional bodies. Because remember, the soul is in 10D and it's a massive field of energy which is projecting into the universe, into all the other dimensions and all the different forms and shapes. This is how your soul is big. Not to mention different timelines, not time zones, timelines. Yes, past, present, future, because here in 3D we experienced a fixed timeline, past, present, future, so to speak fixed, but you can actually jump and change your timeline, but that's a different topic. So your soul is massive, it's huge, and it's projecting into so many forms and shapes and bodies, and especially in more advanced souls. There are also baby souls, which are new, so they choose a bit kind of safer and simpler experiences with less projections across the universe. And more advanced souls, explore and expand much further throughout the universe. They have a lot more experience. Yes.
But is this revealed? Like, can we know how vast our soul actually is? At some point, will it be revealed?
Yes, of course. And kinesiology is one of the ways to inquire into your soul. And another complexity is that time is relative. If you ask how old is my soul, is it 1,000 years, a million years, a billion years? Well, age and time is quite relative, actually. Maybe, you have to take it quite relative when you ask about how old is my soul. But maybe how mature is the soul, or how advanced is the soul. We would need to derive a different scale for that. So your questions during kinesiology also need to be very considerate what you mean by asking those questions, and according to which scale are you comparing. Because time, again, it's a fourth dimensional energy and it's relative. But the universe itself, if we measure relatively, we can say it's over 14 billion years old. So to some extent, we could try to measure the soul age, but it's still relative. Soul maturity and experiences or advancement is a bit more correct way of looking at the soul. Because also, I will clarify this a bit further, because you can have two people at the age of 40 sitting one next to another. They're both at the age of 40, but their life experience and maturity and advancement can be absolutely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the same way with the souls, it's not only about the age, it's about maturity, advancement, experiences. That's a bit more correct view of the soul.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Leopold, yes?
Hi. My question is how much on level of spirituality soul must be to call it advanced soul?
Good question. I would say that everyone who reaches 600s can be called quite advanced soul. Everyone who reaches 600s. Because 600s, it's already a very rare and unique realization in terms of levels of consciousness, and it's a certain homage of the soul. 500s is relatively easy actually, and there are tens of millions, maybe even 100 million or more people at 500s already. So it's quite common, and it's, you know, let's say, let's call it spiritual teenagehood. Spiritual adulthood, I call it 600s. Spiritual adulthood. And 700s, it's already more than adulthood, because it's a lot more than that. So then it goes up accordingly. Yeah, so 600s we can say it's quite advanced soul would be already, if we compare it to the levels of consciousness scale. Okay. Even yet again, even 1,000 is not equal to 1,000, because there can be people at 1,000, beings at 1,000 who are very mature, however, maybe not so energetically, experientially advanced. And some beings at 1,000 are a lot more energetically, universally advanced. There's also a difference. So it is even more rare to find beings at 1,000 who are energetically, universally advanced. So it would mean that these souls have experienced a lot more throughout the universe. And of course, there are, even known as, like, for example, Buddha or Jesus. We can call it the older brotherhood, which are even older souls or more mature souls who have been here longer, so to speak, and have done more work across the universe. And it goes up and up and up in advancement and maturity and responsibility across the universe. Yes. It's not only like how old or advanced you are, but also what kind of responsibilities one has to humanity, Earth, galaxy, universe. So the level of responsibility is also a very good measurement. Perhaps that would be one of the best ways of measuring the advancement of the soul, by the level of responsibility. That might be one of the best ways to measure, actually, the advancement. And responsibility, it's not always fun. It's not always easy. And it has all the goods and bads, all the beautiful things and difficult things. Responsibility is what it is. Ability to respond in the present situation, environment, place, location, time zone, timeline, here and now. Yes. Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, I'd like to ask about, for those that are on a spiritual path, as the earth goes through these changes, as the veil is thinned, how does that affect people who, meditate, or making an effort to make a connection, or working with the teacher, or, those who are kind of on the path of, in some way?
Yeah, it's a good one. Yes, it makes things a lot easier. Because right now in this time in history, it's so easy to meditate. It's so easy to get knowledge, internet, videos, so many spiritual teachers. It's so easy now than ever to awaken and to grow consciously, spiritually and consciously. Consciously not always means spiritually, because spiritual usually defines more the dimensional work and energetic work, and consciousness is not only energies and dimensions, but everything which is present here, including every single emotion, every single thought, your body, this present experience. Everything is consciousness, and consciousness happening right now, consciousness work, you may say so. So now it's more than ever easier. And if, let's say, 200 years ago, you would need to spend your whole lifetime in monastery, or, like maybe Buddhist monastery, or Christian monastery, even longer, or Zen monastery, or so forth, you would need to spend your whole lifetime to get into 400s or 500s, whole lifetime, and really a lot of hard work. Now you can do it in a few months. You can get into 400s in a few months. 500s, give it a year or so. It's so much easier. And it's gonna be easier and easier as we go along. However, challenges, of course, will come, because the energies are rising. And, let's say for children who are born, it's even easier. And the next children who will be born, it's even easier. Because we are here now, particularly in this timeline, and it is like this. It is like this. When new children are born, they're already born on a higher frequency, higher consciousness, with a new body, immersed into that particular future timeline experience, and it's going to be a lot easier in that kind of way, because they are born with smartphones and tablets and Google and everything, at their fingertips, with all the goods and bads of it. But essentially, it's so much easier than before. So awakening will be easier and easier and easier, actually. And of course, there are challenges which are present, and all the healing that has to be done, of course, it's also here too. And we are quite in a challenging timeline right now, because we are in the midst of the biggest change from being totally programmed, conditioned into awakening and self-realization. It's like really from the very bottom going to the very top in one lifetime. That's a big, big, massive change. And it's really something very, very special. Because, for example, for other beings, let's imagine, you're born on another planet, which is already awakened. Everybody is already awakened. Well, it's easy, you already are awakened. You just live your life. But here we have such a unique experience, and it's so unique to the soul that everybody, all of us, were born unawakened, and we all experience awakening, and then we go all the way into full consciousness in this lifetime. It's like basically your parents and grandparents who have witnessed from people, riding in the horse carts, and then suddenly there was a first engine with Ford vehicles, and then in the same lifetime, a few decades later, man on the moon. It's amazing. But now we are going inside. Our generation is going inside from unawakeness into full awakeness. So that's totally unique within. So this lifetime, it's definitely very, very special. Extremely special lifetime. Yeah, so it's very valuable to the soul to experience this lifetime like this. Extremely unique. Yes. Yeah, so every one of you is doing really great work, by the way. And you need to give yourself credit that you are doing amazing. You are doing your best to awaken. You already have done so much, first of all. First of all, let's pause a little bit and reflect that you have done already so much. Yes, you have. And let's give credit to that, and let's acknowledge that, and let's have gratitude for that. Yes, and you can feel the joy in your heart. You can feel your soul being happy right now, your heart being happy right now. Yeah, because just you have. And we everybody has a mind, and we're always looking forward and more open, more awakened. But we miss the present. And if we pause, if we stop, if we reflect, and now it's a great time to pause and reflect, we will see that we've been accelerating exponentially, like this. Not like that, slowly, exponentially. And that's what you have done already. Already you have done it. Yeah, you have done it already. And that is a reason to celebrate. Yes, I do invite every one of you to celebrate. And celebrate that what you have done already, what you have achieved already, where you are already. And just for tonight or this weekend, just forget about the future for a bit. Yeah, just forget about the future. Just for a bit, and celebrate what you have done already. Yeah, so it's my invitation to you this weekend, tonight, this weekend. Just pause the future for a time being for this weekend and celebrate what you have done already. And that will be amazing. So with much love to every one of you and much gratitude to all of you and much joy of your advancements and your progress. Yes, I would really love to invite you to celebrate this weekend. So with much love and joy, yes, let's have this celebration, and I will see you next week, same time on Thursday. And we will have next week a global liberation gathering. So have a beautiful weekend and enjoy, love, celebrate, because you truly deserve it. And you have done amazing already. And I will see you next week.